chart, I'm not gonna test you on any of it, okay? But what I do want you to understand from this chart, there's two things I want you to understand. The first one is that this arachidonic acid is found in all of the cell membranes, all the cell walls, particularly brain and muscle, but in all of them. And you combine that and you follow this down to the enteropeptides, and then you get these things down here. And prostaglandins in particular they cause fever, they cause pain, and they cause vasodilation, which, you know, a lot of times our shock patients have very, very crazy low blood pressures. And on the other hand, if you have the, I can't even say that, goes to the leukotrienes, and then the leukotrienes also are powerful inflammatory, so they have this massive inflammatory response, which can be good, but also can be too much as well. So, let me see, if there's anything else I wanted to tell you about that. Oh, the one thing I didn't tell you about the prostaglandins is that they also increase the glomerular filtration rate, which is a problem, because when that goes faster, you put out more urine, and we don't want to do that right now. We want that part of the brain that is telling us to hang on to the urine and the sodium, but that prostaglandins are counteracting that. So, and the other thing I want you to understand about this chart, and why I leave it in, because you know I don't love these kinds of charts, but I like this one because it's showing you that here and here, these yellow things, that maybe we can block this here if we are suspecting like a sepsis, let's say, at the beginning. That if we can give them steroids and we can give them an anti-inflammatory, we may stop the cascade early on. So that's what the yellow is there, and I think it's a really good note. We'll be talking about sepsis 3 protocols soon, and there's a huge study going on called the MERIT protocol, and they're using on patients vitamin C steroids and thiamine to try to block the cascade, and they're having great success. So this is one of those 3 elements that we've known about for a while. Yeah, that's enough about that. Okay, so in late shock, we have serotonin being secreted, and that's a problem because first we have bronchoconstriction. It's the opposite of what we want. We want our lungs nice and open and able to exchange O2 because we need more O2 because we're in that anaerobic metabolism phase. Again, the serotonin is going to cause, it's another thing that causes platelet aggregation. Good old platelet aggregation, we're going to see it a whole lot as well. But the biggest problem is that it desensitizes the vessels to norepinephrine. And so you're not able, the things that normally might help you to raise the blood pressure, the body is, with serotonin, blocking that. So antihistamines, it's not going to work on these patients. So at this stage in the game, the serotonin is blocking that as well. All right, fluids tend to shift from the vascular bed into the third spacing. Our patients look like the Pillsbury Doughboy. They're all puffed up. And it's because of the leaching of the capillary permeability, which is going to make our hypotension worse as well. Our impaired cellular membrane function has to do with the permeability. We have the impaired sodium-potassium pump, again, because of our lack of oxygen or anaerobic metabolism and non-enough ATP. And then we have intracellular swelling, again with sodium, again could cause apoptosis. And then in the vascular bed, you have very bad hypovolemia. And as shock progresses, there's an increased tendency to hypovolemia, which you've all seen, and you've all had the patients on all the drips because of that as well. This particular slide is just to show you the bad effects of calcium. Calcium is one of the things that can kill a cell quicker than anything. So you have less ATP. So you have calcium that gets into the cell and you can't get it out. The gradient gets worse. So then the calcium continues to build, and then it actually gets taken up by the mitochondria, or that powerhouse inside the cell itself, and damages it in its ability to work as well. So falling ionized calcium levels equal increasing impairment of cellular function in late shock, because it's staying in the cells and not in the vascular bed. Would you replace your calcium? No. We're going to let that ride you all know that when we measure calcium, we're not measuring in the blood, we're not measuring calcium, we're measuring ionized calcium, right? We don't replace calcium based on calcium, we based on ionized calcium, just if you didn't know that. Not part of your test, just letting you know. Okay, so we have histamine being released, and this type of histamine, because basically of the serotonin, is resistant to antihistamines, so you can't do anything about it. And then histamine is a potent vasodilator. It's produced at a cellular, not a systemic level, and so every cell in the body has the ability to make this histamine, which is making the vasodilation and the tunica media even worse as well. The prostaglandins and the leukotrienes we already talked about in that table that started with the adenosine, whatever it is, acid. I'm saying it wrong. And so, there it is, arachidonic. So these are created by this. Now it says the net value is vasoconstriction versus vasodilation, and it's usually in the bigger vessels you have massive vasodilation, and in the very small capillary beds you have vasoconstriction, which is going to contribute to the DIC that we'll talk about later. Interventions in late shock, it might work, it might not work. It's equivocal. Fingers crossed, lots of prayers, all drugs, and see if it'll work or not. Okay, so other hormones that are secreted, you are going to get the fight or flight epinephrine, so because of that you're going to have a glucagon release, you're going to have more blood sugar in your body to help you to do what you need to do, more cortisol as well, and decreased insulin, so everybody at this stage is on an insulin drip. Increased cardiac output, increased blood glucose, and a catabolic response. The body's kind of eaten itself at this point, severe injury and stress to the cells themselves. Okay, lab values. So, how many of you are familiar with anion gaps? Okay, we're going to learn about it, and you have to memorize it for the test. And the next slide, wait, where is it? Where is it? Maybe not. Okay, I'm going to have to go over it with you. I thought I had a slide on it. Look at that. Okay, well, it's right here as well. So we're going to be measuring anion gaps. Anion gaps have to do with all of the ions, right? So it is, when we talked about DKA, it takes time to close the anion gap. So when we look at anion gaps, we're going to say that a normal anion gap is 8 to 12. Those are soft numbers. Your facility might be a little bit different, but it'll be close to that. Sometimes it's less than 14, sometimes it's less than 12 to be normal. And what happens with anion gaps is they go up. So when they're open, they are up. I've never seen a lower than normal anion gap. I don't know what causes that, but we're always looking for a number for here would be above 12. If you have an open anion gap, then you have an imbalance, an ionic imbalance, and you're very acidotic usually. So how do you figure out an anion gap? You do, and you need to memorize this. Sodium minus bicarb plus chloride equals your gap. So if my sodium is 140, my bicarb is 25, and my chloride is 105, it's 10. Does everybody get that? Okay. So in this situation, that would be a normal anion gap. When it's high, sepsis, DKA, and acidosis. So measure that. I mean, know these numbers and how to do that. And the other number I want you to measure is the lactate level. Again, this is a soft number. It's the one your book gives us, 0.5 to 2.2 milliequivalents per liter. Some of them say 2.0 in hospitals. So just know that we're getting close to what the community says, but not completely there yet. Okay, I'm going to have you do a couple of practice ones, and you're going to tell me the answer. You have a sodium of 145, a bicarb of 18, and a chloride of 103. Give you a second. What is your anion gap?
24.
24, is that open?
Yes.
That's an open anion gap. Very open. Here's another one. Sodium of 142, bicarb of 20, chloride of 105. Gives you an anion gap of 17, open or closed. Very good. Okay, So know that for the exam because you're gonna be getting story questions on the exam and the patient maybe has sepsis and this and that and the anion gap and is it, based on this, what's going on? And lactate will give you another clue. pH you should already know from your ABGs. Okay, so what happens to the lungs in late shock? So because there's capillary permeability inside the alveolar structure itself, it begins to fill with fluid. And that's because of the interstitial edema. So it's, again, everything's leaking and it's leaking the fluids, and so there is less ability to exchange CO2 and O2. You'll have increased dead space and shunting. You have increased CO2 because you can't get rid of it. The surfactant is being inhibited by all of the fluid in the alveoluses themselves. And you'll have an increased minute volume for breathing faster. So, impaired, I always have to look up RES, I can't ever remember what it stands for, reticuloendothelial system. So as we talked about before, when you are stimulating your immune response in the liver, you have all of that protein that is stimulated as well. And so if you can't make this happen, your ability to fight infection goes down. First line defenders and also innate immunity as well. Also, it can't clear the toxins as well. Another job of the liver, so that builds up in the bloodstream itself. Bowel, this is one of the worst ones, and this is the translocation of bacteria. So normally your bowel doesn't leach out the E. coli into the body, but in this situation it does. At the very end, if you weren't septic, you're gonna be septic now because you're gonna leach E. coli out of your bowel and it's gonna get into your bloodstream. So that's called translocation of bacteria. The bacteria goes where it should not go. It's always kept in the bowel, here it leaches out. The brain, your ionic balance changes, especially with the calcium, altered phospholipid metabolism, production of free radicals, and mentation becomes very impaired. Kidney, progressive impairment of creatinine and free water clearance, and so the creatinine is gonna go sky high, GFR is gonna go down for a variety of reasons. Okay. You have a question?